Wahoo didn't burn down, huh? That's a shame. That is a shame. Big Run was... I didn't play any Big Run. I saw other people doing stuff and I was like, that's not... That looks pretty much the same. Thanks for the follow, whoever just followed right there. Had my alerts closed down. Or maybe it was a subscription, I don't know. 17 months of the Popcast. Keep doing what I'm doing. You know what? I might just do that. Just for you, Battle Girl Dimples. Please tell me you don't subscribe just for my shiny bald head emotes. I guess that's fair enough. Fun but underwhelming. I mean, I saw other people playing and it was like, oh, that's just Salmon Run. I saw people complaining about not getting the award or whatever, but the emotes are great. Flume, the person, Flume was at Big House. Didn't play, but was just somebody that was just there. Is the person who made that emote. Why didn't I sub for VC? Because I'm too good for long egg. Could have made an exception to let you back in, Rimba. But me, I'm a little too good. D-Jam. Don't have work? That doesn't stop other people. I know people listen to me while they're at work. Back when I was streaming at 12 p Eastern time, much more European friendly time, I knew there were people who were listening to me while they were in class. And that is cringe, but they're learning more listening to me than whatever their teachers are telling them. That's for sure. Yeah, we will let Shadow win in, for sure. They have to use 10th, though. Oh, to be young and listen to the Popcast again. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you're complaining about not getting your Big Run participation trophy, banning your players from streaming their own point of views in your tournament, realizing that burning your Ludi replay or reschedule on week 1 means that you're going to have to play on Christmas/New Year's week, whatever it is that you're doing right now. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Congratulations to those of you that survived week 1 of Ludi. Hey, you're still here. If you have not dropped yet, you still have an opportunity to win your entire division. It doesn't matter. Even if you lost your first week 5-0 in what probably would have been a total curb stomp, don't worry. Mathematically, you aren't eliminated just yet. If you lose this week, if you lose 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks, then yeah, you're going to need some help outside of your control. You're still not completely mathematically eliminated at that point. But hey, you survived. The reason you guys signed up for Ludi was not to get some div. No, it was to actually play the tournament. You got a long way to go. And my goodness, you got a tough week this week. Full disclaimer, before I get my name dragged through the mud of anything, the only thing I do with Ludi is help out with the seating council. That's it. I have I have absolutely nothing to do with the maps, the map pool, what maps get put out, any of the group, nothing with that. I just seeded the teams 1 through 462, and then I'm out. So, I'll just leave it at that because I saw the maps for this week and I know you guys did too. Oh boy. That's nothing to do with me. Now, if you want to complain about Brine Water Rainmaker being a part of Low Ink, then yeah, I'll take the L for that. But there's going to be some experimenting going on between now and the next year and year and a half while more maps are coming out and we try to find, are any of these maps good for the game at all? Like, are any of these maps good for competitive? Just give me one. News of tournaments may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. It is Storm Break week. That's right. The final major to close out the year, Storm Break, is going on this upcoming weekend. I know just from rumors behind the scenes, some of the staff is a little concerned about the low amount of teams that have signed up. So far, 34 teams have signed up. As somebody who's been a part of this scene for a while, I know 2 things. One, the vast majority of people are going to sign up Wednesday and Thursday as registration is closing. And B, who cares? Because the teams you want to play in this tournament are signed up. Is Kyo playing with people from Japan? Is that what we're seeing right here on this Melon God team? Alliance Rogue's going to be playing. Starburst is going to be playing. Sayonara is going to be playing. I'm assuming at some point another combination of Oro Jackson Prominence or whatever is going to be playing as well. So, like, who cares? Those are the teams you want to play. The other ones are just there for, there's something for them to get out of the tournament, yes. But as far as, like, the people I want to see play, they're all already here. So everything else is just distraction until we get to those matches we actually want to see. So make sure you guys sign up for it. It's a Saturday and Sunday tournament. You're not doing anything else this weekend unless you're Falco and myself. We are going to be, I've talked about how I want to get into a habit of start doing previews for things outside of just Low Ink. We did a Saturday preview for 20XX. We're going to do another preview this time around for this Storm Break. That's going to be Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I already got something lined up to where we're going to be chatting live with one of the head TOs for Storm Break. A couple of questions. There's a couple of funky stuff. Or not funky, but a little bit different things that going on in this tournament that you traditionally don't see in other Major S tournaments. So we'll ask some questions about that, and I'll let you know who's going to win this tournament so you don't have to watch this weekend. Also, Proving Ground 4 is this Friday. Sign up for it. Or don't. I don't care. Today, we are going to be recapping Low Ink and just talking about Low Ink today. Yes, I am aware of the tournament that took place yesterday in Europe where dude was like, bruh, you aren't going to let us stream our point of view. That's kind of messed up. There is a segment there's something there that I could turn into a segment. I just don't. I'd rather be something where I bring in somebody else to have a conversation with them about that kind of topic, and I'd rather just stick to low ink stuff today. But I am aware of that, and there is some talking points that can go into something like that. Just not today. But first, believe it or not, when the earth was still young, I, the great Pop Goozle, was low ink eligible. I'm something of a low inker myself. That was March of 2020, so about 2.5 years ago when Destiny Troops won this tournament. And to be fair, low ink is infinitely harder to win now than it was 2.5 years ago. A lot harder to win back from March of 2020. Back then, it was just 6 rounds. Sometimes it was only 5 rounds of Swiss, with a top cut immediately after it. A single limb just lasted for 3 rounds. So basically, you played 9 rounds of Splatoon all in one day. You got it over with. If you played a team from Europe in grand finals, which my team did, you had a monstrous advantage because they were running out of well, I mean, they're playing deep in the Sunday morning at that point, whereas it was just, I think the sun was still up by the time we were done on our side. So huge favor or advantage for the NA teams. The map list back then was much worse. You guys think the map lists in these tournaments that we have now are bad. By the way, all the tournaments have bad map lists. They're not all as in-your-face, hilariously bad as the Ludi tournament week 2 is right now. But back then, all the maps were already out. There was no excuse for the map list to be bad in Splatoon 2 because the entire map pool was already out. The game released everything. My team had to win on Clam Blitz Moray Towers. And that wasn't a counter pick. That the TOs put that in grand finals in like game 6. It's like, oh, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've never played Moray Clam Blitz in a tournament ever since then. Like, it wasn't preparing us for anything. As soon as we finished the low ink, as soon as we got banned from low ink, we never saw half of those maps ever again throughout our rest of our career in Splatoon 2. Yeesh. The fact that I'm trying to get to, though, is that to win low ink today, you have to have a whole lot of things go into your favor that are halfway in your control and halfway just completely out of control. You have to have a competitive roster for 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row, you have to have a roster that's good enough to survive the meat grinder that is Saturday and then escape all of the other teams that are at your skill level, if not better, on Sunday. Like, you have to pull off so many things just to win this kind of low ink with very small room for error. You lose twice on Saturday, it's out of your control. You either make alpha or you make beta. There's not much you can do at that point. You can't do anything. You just got to hope opponent win percentage works out in your favor. That's rough. That's tough. And I would argue, as much as it is easier to run on Sunday, most Sundays, in a tournament where there's less than 128 teams, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a better tournament because it's double elim. One thing I forgot as I was looking through things here, Saturday is infinitely more difficult when there's only 2 Swiss groups to have. When there's 4 Swiss groups, and you got like those 170 teams or so signed up, it's still the same number of alpha level teams. It's still the number of contenders doesn't change. It's the number of teams at the bottom that changes. So what happens with those Swiss groups is You get a lot more fluff. And these teams that are knocking, like these teams that are contenders, aren't knocking out each other. Instead, when you've got two Swiss groups, we can't hide all of those contenders. You get like 9 or 10 or 12 teams that have the capability of going deep into alpha bracket that are stuck playing each other on Saturday and knocking each other out and saying, yeah, it's your turn to go down to beta this month. Only 16 gets to move on. It's rough. It's very rough. But obviously Sunday's a little bit more difficult when there's more than 128 teams. But regardless, surviving each day now is a lot more difficult than what it was when this was just a one-day tournament. Winning with a sub is extremely hard. And it seems like it's getting more and more difficult to teams to go through a tournament with the actual roster they want, both Saturday and all the way through Sunday. I can't think of too many teams that actually pulled it off with a sub. I know the Cherry Dolphins did it with a sub that they brought in day one. Splat-A-Lot A used a sub for most of the tournaments on Sunday. It's very much fair to say that Splat-A-Lot A does not win low ink without the sub coming in and helping them out there. The sub that's in chat, who's going to be upset when I pronounce their made-up name incorrectly again. But it's also fair to say that Splat-A-Lot A does not win that tournament unless that person that was subbing in for came back. As soon as that person came back, Splat-A-Lot A went 6-0 against Yume Stars in grand finals and did not look back. They looked like a completely different team. But those are the only two instances off the top of my head. I think Red Sun used like a sub on day one. And they could have very well used a day sub throughout the rest of the thing. But Red Sun, those are the only two instances, Cherry Dolphins, Splat-A-Lot A, and maybe Red Sun, where I think somebody got pulled out from the sub application channel and helped that team actually win the tournament. Every other time, it's just a sub coming in, and it's just, okay, do you own the game? Are you at your screen? Can you actually play the game right now? Because either you play for us or we drop, and that's just kind of the situation you got to go through. I remember Fluency did that. Fluency, the month before they won it, was in a great situation. Or maybe it was Xylo. The Xylo, the month before they won it or two. They had my friend Tiger sub for them at the very last minute. Tiger, who's like, very rarely plays the game competitively, all of a sudden is now in loser finals of alpha bracket because they just need a body in there. Like it's hard to go all the way through with the roster that you got. And you just got to hope your internet holds up over the course of both days. I mean, it's sometimes your guys' internet is something you should be controlling, like you should be wired. And it's I'm not going to get here in an argument about what is the latency rules and all that stuff. You've heard my takes on it 100 times. But, like, there are a lot of things with your internet sometimes that are just completely out of your control. If your router just flat out explodes, that could happen. There's been tournaments that I've played in where the power in our entire neighborhood just went out for 3 hours. Like, just, I guess somebody was working one of the power lines and knocked it out, and then it took them that long to get it repaired. Like, that's something that has absolutely zero control over what I had there, but it still knocked me out of the tournament for the rest of the day. There's nothing I can do about it. Like, you just got to have these things work out into your favor. It is difficult to do. This is why getting caught up in winning low ink limits your team progress. And maybe I'm a little bit to blame for this myself because we always celebrate winners and we're going to continue to celebrate winners going forward. But the mindset that we got to get into is not just thinking, oh, these teams that win are going to go on to do great things. There's so many teams that have never won low ink that have come really close, that didn't win low ink but have gone on to be arguably even better than the teams who have won low ink. Because in order to win, you need what? Let's say 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will. My math on that might be a little bit off there, but you need a lot of things going in your favor right there. So I'm watching my Opsidus in grand finals. And I'm sitting here, I'm explaining their story to the audience because that's what you do as a commentator. Now, mostly I'm just kind of frustrated in general. So I'm just kind of like gritting my teeth commentating a lot yesterday. And I've been burnt out for the past couple of weeks doing all the Ludi and I haven't been doing Fortnite, but all the other low ink stuff that we had to do. But as I'm explaining the story of why the audience should care about what they're watching, the casual listener who's just tuning in, maybe they were just part of the dude raid and they're like, why should I care about this? Who's my Opsidus? Who's Crescent Knight? Why should I care about this? I'm telling you why you should care. And I'm sitting here explaining my Opsidus hasn't been in this kind of setting. They'd never been to grand finals before, but they'd never been even this close to winning this tournament since October of last year. And you explain to them what's on the line for my Opsidus and how there's like not much on the line for Crescent Knight, even though Crescent Knight can win the tournament. There's not as much history that's on the line for Crescent Knight. Like it would mean so much more to my Opsidus to like the culmination of everything they've done over the past, 12 low inks they played in. It reminded me a lot of Access Denied. The run that they had back in January of this very same year. You remember that? Probably the match of the year. Access Denied versus Lois. It was the same exact thing. It was Access Denied had been constantly making alpha brackets, only to get upended by their new rival of the month. Access Denied probably had a rivalry with about 10 different teams at some point, and they came so close to winning the tournament, and they didn't do it. Just frames away, and they didn't do it, and they never got even close to that again. You would forget, but Access Denied actually did play in a low ink after they got second place in that January. They skipped February. They came back in March, and they got 7th place. Like that was as close as they got in January, and they never came close to doing it ever again. And I think we officially banned them because they popped off in Riptide, or at least a couple of their players popped off with the name of Access Denied at Riptide. They deserved it. They were a strong team. But I'm watching this and I'm thinking, oh, this is how we started the year. My Opsidus is doing the same exact thing. It's eerily similar. Game 4, now there wasn't a bracket reset, but still, Game 4 was a clutch surprising Rainmaker win for both Access Denied and my Opsidus. And Game 5 was a heartbreaking loss on a Clan Blitz map for both Access Denied and my Opsidus. And those are the two kind of teams that have just been stuck in alpha bracket for so long, and they finally get up on that stage, and you finally think this is the moment where it's all going to come out and work together. But there's this new team that pops out of nowhere. There's a Lois that just comes out of nowhere. There's a Crescent Knight who's just like, oh, this is just my second low ink, and they just take it all away, and they say, this is my turn to jump in front of the line and take the glory from you. Crescent Knight, this is just their second low ink that they played in. Like, they don't know any of that. They don't know any better. They don't know it, like the heartbreak or the emotional stake that's on the line for any of these teams. For them, it's just, oh, this is just our second time. Let's just come in and win it. Bye. We'll see you later. We're moving on to whatever mid-level is. This, the Fugazi mid-level. Lois, I think that was just their second or third time. Cherry Dolphins, that was their second low ink. I can't think of a team that's like an Access Denied or like a Myopsidus that has just been stuck in alpha bracket for so long that finally found a way to break through and win it. I can't remember. Maybe Uwu. Maybe Uwu's the only other team that was able to kind of break the mold and do something like that. Maybe Inked Killers. But then again, that was Inked and Squid Killers combined. But Inked in both those teams, like, were in alpha bracket for a good chunk of time, but never as long as one of these other kinds of teams were. But you look at some of the other teams that have won, like Sleeping Seals. They made their first alpha bracket and they won it right then and then. Pursuit, they won their first low ink they ever played in. Sia, you could make the argument kind of for Sia, but they didn't stick around nearly as long. Sia was just this 1 year starting out in Little Squidly going up to win. It wasn't like you spent a massive amount of time. Sia only played in, 3 alpha brackets? Maybe, no, yeah, they only played in 3 alpha brackets in 3 months in a row, except for the one they skipped. So Sia, you can't count as that. Delicious Nuggets, again, they got second place, turned around next month, won the whole tournament. J. Croutons, I think they made 2, maybe 3 alpha brackets before they won. Splat-A-Lot A did it in the first alpha bracket they won. It's all these teams that are spending as little time as possible in alpha bracket these past couple of years, honestly, that are the ones that are winning these tournaments now. It's not the teams that are just sticking around and knocking on the door and coming so close. But we're always celebrating low ink winners. In Crescent Night, we're going to celebrate them because they deserve it. But, and I've always wanted to do this, like talk about the best teams that never win low ink. I haven't done it because it is kind of inherently a negative topic of like, oh, here's a bunch of losers. But here's a bunch of teams that have not won low ink, but have gone on to become monsters outside of it. And this list is pretty extensive. You got Persistence. They never won low ink. In fact, there was one point where the first 7 or so low inks that we did of the day 2 system, every single one of them was a bracket reset. There was only 2 times in those first 7 where it wasn't a bracket reset, and that was Persistence both times. Stargaze never won low ink. All-Star Squad, Last Chance, they made grand finals twice. They never won it. Sirius was a really strong team. They won SOS as a Div 3 team and made some noise. And like, why are we not Div 1? They failed to win low ink twice in grand finals. Twice they couldn't get the job done. The Sea Boys. You guys remember the Sea Boys? I sure the heck do. Whatever happened to Bunda? That player used to squid bag me all the time in solo queue. I guess because I was also a Splatling main. They never won low ink. Wipeout Punks, Legato, and Synergy. I was surprised about this. Legato and Synergy, look at where they are right now. Synergy beating Bad in Div 2 yesterday. Those teams never even made podium in low ink. They never even got a medal. They didn't even get a bronze medal in low ink. Look what they've become now, though. My point being, failing to win low ink sucks. I get that. But it's not what defines you unless you let it. Next month, the registration is going to shoot back up. We know that. That's how January always works. Registration skyrockets every single January. And we're going to go beyond the 128 thing. And only, let's say we get 170 teams next month. Only one of them wins low ink. Does that mean the other 169 teams, it's a failure? No, there's more than just winning low ink. I think we've gotten away, and again, I'm to blame for this partly myself, but we've gotten away what the point of low ink is. And it's to grow people so that when they go out of low level, whatever low level is, and they move on to the next day, they become the next Persistence, the next Stargaze, the next Legato, the next Synergy, the next Sirius. All these other teams that couldn't get the job done, it doesn't matter because we grew them and they gained a lot of things out of playing in low ink and they went on to becoming something great. However, though, I always say offer apologies when I screw things up. My bad, Crescent Night. I didn't even put you guys in the top 10. To be fair, I put you guys in an honorable mention. But again, this is what low ink is. How are you supposed to predict a team like Crescent Night is going to win? I sit here and read off all the list of teams that were unpredictable to some extent in winning because they just came out of nowhere. Oh, this is my first time in Alpha Bracket. I'm going to win it next month. Bye. We'll see you later. How are you supposed to predict it's Crescent Night? Like, there's 20 teams that were in Crescent Night's kind of situation. It's just to pull a name out of the hat. Whose turn is it going to... June, it's your turn to win it now. Okay, Dive, you made Alpha Bracket once. There you go. You get to win next month. Like, it's just to pick them. And I didn't pick Crescent Night this time around. I'm sorry. But they still did a really great job with how they play throughout the whole day. Would I've liked to see them play against VC? Yes. And how good would a VC actually done in that matchup? I don't know. I feel like that would have been a great matchup. But what we saw with VC going through and winning all the way up to winners finals before their internet exploded, that would have been a great set. But you beat my Opsitus twice in game 5s. That's convincing because my opposite looked really strong. And we're going to talk about them, obviously, when we get to the alpha thing. Crescent Knights, correct me if I'm wrong, has become the third team all time to win low ink after losing 2 games in the Swiss stage. They joined Fluency and Splat-A-Lot A, and maybe one other team that I can't think of when I did my research today. But those 2 teams I know won low ink as 4, 2 teams out of Swiss. Crescent Knight joins them as well with that one. So very short list. And another reason why would I think Crescent Knight was going to win? They barely even made alpha bracket. Luck of the draw with opponent win percentage, but they showed up and showed out. Is their triple splash bow comp, is that quirky enough to be considered low ink quirky? I think so. We'll give it credit for that. I at least like seeing Bo for the small instances that it was in there. I don't know. Now, with all the teams that I mentioned, it seems like the teams that don't win low ink go on to be a little bit more, do a lot better job of building up their name outside of low ink than the teams that do actually win. Especially last year. In 2021, if you won low ink, you might as well just disband because that's ultimately what you guys did. Like anybody that won low ink in 2021 just like turned in their retirement papers the very next day. It's hopefully there's something that comes along pretty soon where Crescent Knight can play in it and they can make their name in that, since they didn't get to grind it out and cry their way through alpha bracket for about a year before they ended up winning it. And no, I'm not talking about high ink. Stop asking about high ink 3. It's not going to be a thing. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. If you look at how busy December is, if there even is a high ink 3, it's not going to be in this year. And that means it's probably not going to be there for a long time. So stop asking about that. But no, there might be something else new coming up. Not really new, but something else coming back that might intrigue Crescent Knight and several other people. Sloink was discussed in the IPL General Chat. 100% best format idea, no issues. Okay. Yeah, we'll let you run that. Lois had players who played low ink before and pick up stuff. Yes. Was it 3 a.m.? Was that the name of that team that they were on? Or 6 a.m. or something. I forget what the name of the team. AD. Yes. The AD saucy boy moment. I haven't coined that phrase, but I've used that phrase before. Whenever you throw the clam at overtime and it spins at the basket, but it doesn't register and the game ends. I call that getting access denied. Aquatic Vanguard got access denied off stream a couple of low inks ago. We went back and saw that. Do I need Mom Spaghetti to win as well? No, every team that has played in their own version of a Mom Spaghetti low ink has traditionally played horribly bad. We got a sub and ended up 3rd beta. Banana Basics got a sub and ended up 2nd beta. So it seems like if you just get a sub, you might as well just pencil yourself in to make podium of beta if you're a team that's capable of trying to win the tournament. But hard to do. Hard to do. Price says 3M was the name. Well, 3M was serious? I forget. The name, I should know what the name was. It was an Australian team, obviously. But I don't care enough to look it back up because I haven't seen Lois play recently. And I got other things we need to talk about today. So let's move along. It is time for the weekly recap. SOS number 91 was won by Tempest. Next time, it took 2nd place. Some team called Bet with a capital B-E and then a lowercase t took 3rd over Wall Gaming. I'm happy for Tempest. Am I allowed to say that? I mean, I don't think there's any reason not to like Tempest at this point. I like the fact that they kicked out the jackass off the roster and they're still having arguably more success Not arguably, definitely more success since then. It's a feel-good story for them, so I'm happy to see Tempest win, and I'll be rooting for them going forward at anything they do until they prove that they're jackasses as well. I don't know those guys. Oh, no, wait, no, Drift T's on that team. Screw that team. I hate Tempest. Hammerhead was won by NKT Definitivo. Mako bracket was won by Yamam, and if you're wondering why Div 1 team Yamam is playing in Mako bracket, it's because they got upset by Echo in the pool round. I see you, Echo. Lantern bracket was won by Yorha. What is that? I see that a lot around the Twitter. What does Yorha mean? But regardless, they won Lantern bracket. Squid Junction number 34. I can't write on my notes SJ because I'll just call it Super Jump. And even when I meant to call something Super Jump, I'll call it Squid Junction, so I have to actually write down on my notes the full freaking word. Squid Junction number 34 was won by Hex, which seems to be officially a new team that is made up of members formerly of Rising Matrix. Cat, which is a team of Isaac, Sleepy, and whoever Neutral Face is, took second place. Third place went to Corn Dog, Sir Skit, Echo, Daybreak, and 2, a.k.a. Radishes. 16 teams played in this double elimination Squid Junction tournament. They got bit by the Looty bug and lost a little bit of participation. Who cares? I found out with Proving Ground, 16 teams is the perfect amount of teams to have for a double elimination. You get your tournament done in a fair amount of time, and if it's the right 16 teams, you get some quality matches regardless. So, quality over quantity is what I'm going with as I'm getting older in my TO in years. Splat a Little 8 was won by Bananin Lusher. The hell? Captain Happy Crew took second place, and Antagonisio Reisner took third. Did I just read out a spell? Did I just place a curse on somebody? Like, what the hell is that? 23 teams played in this Sunday tournament for Splat a Little 8. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love it when open tournaments are going on at the same time as low ink, because when somebody is too good for low ink, I can be like, hey, go play in this tournament. And then they're like, oh, well, I don't want to play in this tournament. But I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're available because you're trying to play in low ink. I know you're available at the same time. What's wrong with this one? Did you just want to win low ink and do nothing else? That's kind of weird. Let's take a look at Looty. This is not the top 5 in a particular order, but just 5 unordered matches that stood out to me that I wanted to give some credit to. Here, first off, Div 2, Synergy got a 5-4 win over Bad. I referenced this a little bit earlier, but that is a quality win for Synergy. In Div 1, Mango Heck Mech, the team that won the SAC off-season tournament, got a 5-3 win over Spark. No, not the Spark team that played in low ink, or the other Spark team that's in a lower div. No, the team that is on Dude and that has Dude and Cool Dude on it. Mango Heck Mech beat them. In Div 5, Surf and Turf got a quality 5-4 win over Waterfront, avenging a probably a little bit of a disappointing low ink for them earlier that same day, I believe. Div 7, Malibu Rising got a 5-4 win over the Black Ink Raiders. And in Div 9, Soul Eaters got a 5-4 win over Tactifuelers. The Rams pulled Baker Mayfield off the street and beat the Raiders 17-16. The Ravens used a third-string quarterback to beat the Steelers 16-14. The Chiefs beat the Broncos, knocking them out of playoff contention 34-28. And that was your weekly recap, sponsored by Stormbreak. The tournament you all know is going on, but are going to wait to the last minute to register for anyways. I have no connection to Stormbreak other than the fact that I'm going to be commentating Sunday, so I don't care. Sign up for it or don't, doesn't bother me, but it still is the unofficial official sponsor of this week's episode of the Weekly Recap. Think of the reverse sweep, really? It was 4-0 and Surf and Turf came back? Dang. Plant the seed of doubt. Neutral Face is Nova. Thank you. Why don't they just go by Nova instead of Neutral Face then? Just call them Neutral Face, because that's what they prefer to go by, obviously. Before we get into my winners from the Swiss stage of Saturday, I want to point out one match in particular. Marine Melody played Rolling Squids. And when I believe this was round 2. And as I was looking in that group, I guess it was Group A, for a match to stream, and I saw those two teams lined up against each other, it's like, I got to put that one on. Because it seems like Marine Melody and Rolling Squids, if they aren't rivals yet, they're going to be, because they're both on the same kind of trajectory, I believe is the correct word. They're trending in the same direction, parallel one another. So when I saw them playing, I was like, oh, we should put that on stream. And it did not disappoint. Went 2-1 into favor of the Rolling Squids. But that could be, like next year, that could be a strong alpha brackets medal round kind of matchup between those two teams. We'll remember this one. Unless we don't. My winners from the Swiss stage of Low Ink. Hats off to Sanguine Seas, pronounced like penguin, who went 6-0 per match, 18-0 per game. Look, I know what they did on Sunday. We're talking about Saturday right now. Going 18-0 in Low Ink as a team that did not do that well last time is notable and something that should be pointed out. And look at the teams they had to play. They got key wins against Alliance of the Dam, Myopsitis, Counterstyle, Elegant Ruby, and Ikaru. Those are not easy wins to get. Not easy teams to sweep, and Sanguine Sea swept all of them. Congratulations on having a good Saturday. Myopsitis is the team that had the highest opponent win percentage on Saturday. AE, they had the toughest schedule on Saturday. They went 5-1, getting key wins against Team Biscuits, Waterfront, Ink in the System, and Shumaris. So nicely done for Myopsitis. They finished second in their group and second overall in the entire tournament. A couple silver medals do look pretty good in a trophy case as opposed to no medals at all. Vicious Heroism went 3-3 with key wins against the Hell Squids, Seasick, and Tsunami. That's Tsunami spelled S-O-O-N, Nami. The judges are going to clear that one. That one checks out. Oh, they also took games off of Alpha Bracket teams Waffle and Alliance of the Dam. Not bad, Vicious Heroism. See what happens when you listen to announcements and you put in your splash tags, even though it took them the last possible second to get their last splash tags fixed. They played in the tournament, and they do pretty good. A not too shabby 3-3 result. Arise, another one of these teams that has to put an exclamation point in their name for some reason, so you got to say it with emphasis. Arise! They went 4-2 with key wins over the Whip Rays, Enveloping Ink, the Moon Stars, and this is the first Low Ink for this brand new team. I believe some of these players have experience in the past, some don't. I'm not 100% sure, but Arise playing in their first Low Ink, going 4-2. I believe they made beta brackets. The Splatterlot Drippy Drippers, or is it the Drippy Droppers? I want to call them the Splatterlot Drippy Drippers. But Battlefly says it's the drip. Yeah, it is the Drippy Drippers. I don't know why I call them Drippy Droppers. Splatterlot D went 4-2. Got key wins against Wormwood, Arise, Elegant Ruby, and Radical Dreamers. Is this that same team that weren't they called like Dark Matter at one point? Or is that a different Splatterlot D team that disbanded and then like this new Splatterlot D slot opened up, so they just like, okay, you're now the Drippy Drippers. How do they go from Dark Matter to Drippy Drippers? I don't know. Regardless, they went from not making beta bracket to making beta bracket this time around. Nicely done. Counterstyle went 4-2, getting key wins over the Drippy Drippers, Radical Dreamers, Glowfish, and the Black Squid Band. This little Squid League team found their way into beta bracket this time around. And I don't remember what they did in beta bracket. I'll have to go back and look. I don't have them in my beta notes, but they did good enough on Saturday to get a mention from me here. Shumas, there's no way I'm pronouncing that correctly, went 4-2 with key wins over Arise, Surf and Turf, Monolith, and Counterstyle. Alpha bracket for this brand new team that I have a question mark for. It sounds like a new name because it is difficult to pronounce, so that could be an actual team. There's no way I'm going to say this one correctly. I believe we just referred to them as Team Waffle. Triple Fraggle Schmoggle Waffle. So Team Waffle went 5-1, getting key wins over Bad Cop No Donuts, Splat a Lot of Clips, Vicious Heroism, and Banana Basics. Oh, they also beat Shumas. Alpha brackets for this team that went 5-1, and they will forever just be known as Team Waffles from here going forward. Dive, another one of those exclamation point teams, went 5-1 in this tournament, getting key wins against Top Ramen, Krill Issue, Rolling Squids, Opium, a team name we didn't really say a lot over this past weekend, and VC. Alpha bracket from Beta is where they were in May. They got Beta back in May, and now they're in Alpha bracket and made a pretty good run in Alpha bracket yesterday as well. Nicely done, Dive. Polyamorous Gamership. They went 4-2, getting key wins over Transients, Pixelated, Inkception, and Top Ramen. They won Gamma Bracket last month. This time around, they're going to slide into Alpha Bracket. And they met up some monsters in Alpha Bracket. It doesn't matter. Most teams have a welcome to Alpha Bracket kind of moment. It's still a lot better than winning Gamma Bracket, and a good step in the right direction for Polyamorous Gamership. Origami Dragons, hell yeah, 4-2 result for this team, getting key wins over the Infectious Corrections, Lullaby, Marine Melody, and Octopi. Finally, the Origami Dragons get back to Beta Bracket. They've did that twice this year. Now stop falling down to frickin' the Silver Bracket of Little Squid League Origami Dragons. You're better than that. Show this kind of result every single time. I see you. Orca Fist went 3-3 with a 65 opponent win percentage. That is a crazy high opponent win percentage to have as a 3-3 team. They got key wins over Octopi, Inception, and OK. And they also never got swept, going 1-2 against some alpha teams that they had to play against. Not too bad for this Octopi team that is representing Div 9. I didn't go through and look at everybody's div after this tournament to see who had the best result of each div, but Orco Fist probably was one of the better Div 9 teams in this tournament. Spark Cerulean, one of the many Spark teams that exist now, and now I have no relation to the Cool Dude / Dual Spark team that is in Div 1. They went 3-3 with key wins over Lunar Lagoon, Last Ditch Effort, not to be confused with the old Last Ditch Effort. This is a new, completely different, unrelated team, Last Ditch Effort. I found that out recently. And Name Unavailable. Inkception, the reigning Little Squid League champions, went 4-2 with key wins over Team Master Spark, Name Unavailable, Krill Issue, and that Spark Cerulean team we just talked about, landing themselves back into Beta Bracket. Inkception making steps into the right direction. Nicely done. Banana Split, not to be confused with Banana Basics, went 4-2, getting key wins over the Krusty Crew, Cephalo Corpse, Orca Fist as well. What's up with all these new banana teams showing up all of a sudden? And did Banana Basics and Banana Splits, did Banana split from Banana Basics, or is it completely unrelated with that as well? A lot of banana representation in Low Ink all of a sudden. My biggest winner, though, from the Swiss stage, got to give a shout out to the Tinta Shrimp Cocktails, who went 6-0 in their group, earning the number 1 overall seed in Alpha Bracket. Look at the teams that they had to play to get to the 6-0 result. They beat Crescent Knight, Photic Zone, Aquatic Vanguard, Rolling Squids, and Dive. Yikes. That is a row gallery of who's Alpha Bracket teams that Tinta Shrimp Cocktails had to play all on Saturday. Freaking Saturday. That's why I'm talking about how difficult it is Low Ink. You have to play all those teams on Saturday and then turn around and play a bunch of teams like that are even better on Sunday to win Low Ink. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Tinta Shrimp Cocktails didn't do that great on Sunday. Doesn't matter. They did fantastic on Saturday, and they are the official winners, the best winner in my book from Saturday. What'd you say, Ivy, here? We only had one sweep day 2 and one in day 1, round one of Swiss. You know, when Ink Reapers won Low Ink back in 2021, they won Low Ink sweeping their opponent only one time. I think they took a loss against almost everybody they played against when Ink Reapers won Low Ink. So it doesn't always have to be pretty. Sanguine Seas made it pretty when they won, but Crescent Knight won the whole tournament going 4-2. I didn't mention Crescent Knight as a winner here in the winner section because they weren't. They didn't play that great on Saturday compared to their standard, but they still won the whole tournament. Just got to make it to Alpha. Then you'll handle business from there. Let's take a look at some other brackets, though. Then we'll call it a day. Starting off with Gamma brackets. That's right, there's no Delta bracket this time around. No Delta bracket. It only showed off 2 times and then vanished into the night. Now, we did run a secret underground Delta bracket that did have a prize pool. But if you guys are here listening to that, you weren't invited to it. Don't worry about it. The things I want to talk about here in Gamma bracket. First off, the 4-1-1 tactic team. And you had a couple, as you usually do, a couple of alpha caliber teams fall down in here, Surf and Turf being one of them. And 4-1-1 tactic, you always got this dynamic of a team that's playing, well, we'll play, but we probably don't want to be here, versus 4-1-1 tactic that's just like, we're so happy to be here. And look what happens. This would be surprising if we hadn't seen results like this so many times in these Gamma and Beta brackets, time and time again. They beat Surf and Turf. Went on a good losers run as well. Beat Top Ramen, Octopi, Vicious Heroism before getting knocked out by the team that finished second place in this group, Lullaby. So 4-1-1 tactic. I believe this was Inkzuka, mostly a team called Inkzuka, which a couple of months ago, out of 42 teams in their group, finished 37. 37th out of 42 teams a couple of months ago in Low Ink. Changed their name. I think they dropped last month. They play all the way through here, and they get 4th place in Gamma bracket and get some impressive wins along the way. Nicely done. 4-1-1 tactic. Monolith. Where's old Monolith at? They start off by beating Krill Issue, surviving the game 5 against Arcadia, beating Vicious Heroism, and taking the team that won the whole group all the way to a game 5. Before I accidentally click on this, I don't really want to see that. What was the score here on here? They get swept out by Lullaby. But still, a good run for Monolith. Monolith, I believe, is a new team made up of some people that used to play on Splatterlot G or Inkfina 3. Inkfina 3. I vaguely remember that team name, but or some other players that are new as well. So Monolith, we'll be keeping an eye on them going forward here. Good Sunday for them. Not So Shrimple also deserves a little pat on the back here. After losing to the Moonstars 2-0, got a couple of wins down here, beating Wormwind and Radical Dreamers before getting knocked out by Surf and Turf. Not So Shrimple, they went 2-4 in October as well, going 36 out of 42, just slightly better than the Inkzuka Inc. team. Doing good enough here to make Gamma bracket and getting a couple of wins along the way. We celebrate progress here in Low Ink. We would absolutely celebrate it here, even when it might not be as obvious for some other people when it's there. Not So Shrimple having progress, 4-4-1 tactic having progress. Try to catch these things. Good things to have. Lullaby and Data, or is it Data? Who are these two teams? So Data, Lullaby forces bracket reset in game 5, and then Data realizes, oh, wait a minute, we're the better team. Let's just close this one out. Last bracket to finish on Sunday. Who is Lullaby? I am taking a guess that this is a German team because you look at the players on here. They represent Zero Inc., Mission Instinct, Dive. That usually screams that they are from Germany and are probably dead asleep right now. So if you're watching this VOD later on YouTube, good morning. Congratulations on finishing second place in Gamma bracket. They also played it as Lullaby back in August. They made Beta bracket then, but second place in Gamma, not too shabby. Now, who's Data? Don't get this data confused with the data that is in Div 2 made up of DO, alley, texture, and alley. So it's an acronym more so than anything. Who is this data team with a capital T and a capital A at the end of their name? Data. Maybe that's what they're going with right there. Mostly new players from what we could tell from looking at their thing. So mostly a Div 2 team. No, it's definitely not the Div 3. No, Data is Div 2. Unless they're not. I know they played Night Fairs. They played Night Fairs. Night Fairs is a Div 2 team. Data's Div 3. Argue with me on that. Don't make me go look that up. I'm going to go look that up. Well, who did Night Fair? Is Night Fairs Div 3? Did I completely miss that as well? Congratulations to this data for winning Gamma Bracket. I'm looking this up. You guys have got me so confused. Okay. Didn't Night Fairs just play them, though? Is Night Fairs Div 3? Are they not Div 2? I didn't realize Night Fairs was Div 3. You guys were right. I was the idiot in chat all along. How about that? I thought for sure. I knew they played Night Fairs. I just thought Night Fairs was Div 2. I didn't realize they were all the way down in Div 3. How did that happen? Maybe somebody on the seating council should actually pay attention to what divs people get. Let's look at Beta Bracket. Let's look at Beta Bracket. Hey, look, I purged all of the seating council stuff from my mind because I had to verify all these teams. And all the stuff I'm talking about on Low Ink today, I am purging this from my mind as soon as I end the stream today because I got to start focusing on whatever's next. That's why I'm only doing these popcasts so that when I start forgetting things, I can go back and listen to them and be like, oh, yeah, that's what happened with that team. Because otherwise, I'll just completely forget. Marine Melody. Let's talk about Marine Melody here in Beta Bracket. Where are they? Marine Melody, they beat Arise 2-0, take a game off Banana Basics, then go on a little run down here. Orca Fist, Origami Dragons before getting knocked out by Crimson Wave. Or Marine Melody, again, another team in a good trajectory. There's not, if this was a top 32 thing, they absolutely do make that top 32, which is where they've been hanging around. All these teams would be in the top 32 if there was more teams that signed up, because these are the other 16 teams of 32. But Marine Melody getting some quality wins along the way here, still steps in the right direction. Probably not the results they were looking for, and I know they had ran into a buzzsaw of Aquatic Vanguard and Ludi. Doesn't matter. They're still moving in the right direction. We like what we're seeing from them. Waterfront had a good Sunday here with some quality results. Again, not the bracket they wanted, but it's the bracket that they earned. They beat Inkception, fall into Game 5 to Crimson Waves, a team that's more than capable of winning this whole tournament if they got the alpha. And then down here, Banana Split. They took more of a split against them, 2-1. Got rid of the Splat-A-Lot Drippy Drippers, 2-1. Counter Style, 2-1. Crimson Wave, 2-0. Getting revenge on them. I didn't even recognize that till just now. And Banana Basics. So Waterfront, you played both Banana Split and Banana Basics. Took them to the maximum number of games that you could. Could Banana Split take some games off of Banana Basics? That's the question. But still, congratulations on getting third place. A good Sunday for Waterfront. Origami Dragons. This has to be the best Low Ink they've ever had. Not only did they make Beta Bracket, they got some legit results along the way here. 2-1 win over Sunfish. Couldn't get a Game 5 win over Counter Style, but did get a Game 3 win over the Black Squid Band. And then just ran into the Buzzsaw Marine Melody. So Origami Dragons playing a lot of quality games and finding ways to get some Game 3 wins here. This has to be the best tournament ever from Origami Dragons. I hope it's the new standard going forward for them and not just another one-off like it was last time. Banana Basics in June. Now, we did stream this one. Because of the shenanigans went on Alpha Bracket, we were able to find times to stream this one. I want to point something out. Banana Basics played really strong. I know they had sub and Airsign, but Airsign's a Alpha Bracket caliber player. They've proven that with the results they've gotten in the past, especially with Puzzles and Dragons. Banana Basics clearly was the second best team here. I think June just, for whatever reasons, is just a matchup nightmare against them. June 6-0'd them over the course of this day. That doesn't mean Banana Basic's not a strong team, but June clearly just hard counters them. Now, here's the thing I want to get into. June made Beta Bracket last time. They win Beta Bracket impressively. They sweep Beta Bracket all the way through, right? Yeah, nobody took a single game off of them the entire day. I haven't seen this narrative being used yet, but I'm just going to end the narrative right now. Do not sit here and tell me that June got underseeded in Div 6. Yes, if Ludi Divs came out today, June would not be a Div 6 team. They just 6-0'd a Div 5 team, a couple of Div 5 teams along the way. Yes, they would not be Div 5 if Divs came out today. However, why is June Div 6 and not Div 5? Because when Ludi Divs did come out, they didn't have this result. You cannot reseed a team on December the 3rd for something they do on December the 11th. That's not how time travel works. So don't even start with that narrative. That being said, June is now my pick to win all of Div 6. They're pretty doggone good. Why couldn't they just get a result like this earlier? They wouldn't be in Div 6. Regardless, they win Beta Bracket this time around. That means they're going to do really well in Alpha Bracket next month. Congratulations to them. Memory, I believe, of Crimson Wave. We got cocky during low ink, which costed us form alpha, and then stuff happened. Hey, at least you admit it. Now you know what to do next time, how to avoid the cockiness. You know, predictions like me putting you guys high up on the top 10. That's just my opinion. The opinion means nothing when it comes to the actual tournament, but that is recognizing the issues there. That is a mature statement to come up with, and Crimson Wave we know is going to have some good things going forward. Is Splatoon 3 win on Game Awards? I think they did, yes. Alpha Brackets. The teams I want to shout out here, got to give a little head nod, the dive here. Got a couple of clutch Game 3/Game 5 wins, knocking out Photic Zone. I really wish we could have streamed this set. I didn't realize this one was going to be such a curb stomp. My ops are just taking care of business up top here. Before just running to the buzzsaw of DC and Sanguine Sea, sending them out. But still, Dive following up a good Saturday with a pretty good Sunday here as well. What'd they get? Tied for 5th overall? Not too shabby. Good bump up considering they made beta in May the last time we saw them. Sanguine Seas, you know, this is why nobody cares if you go 18-0 or like the Cocktails that go 6-0 in your group, because it doesn't always translate to success. And they immediately lost to VC, but they took care of business in losers bracket. They woke up after that. Opium, my number 1 overall team, swept them out. Alliance of the Dam, Ink in the System, Dive, took a game off of my Opsidus on stream. In the true losers finals, or maybe not so true losers finals, but Sanguine Seas took a big step up this time around. They didn't just make Alpha Bracket like they did last time. They actually did a lot of damage here. So they solidified themselves as a legit monster going forward. There's no reason to think of them as anything but that. VC, we'll talk about VC. It sucks. And again, this isn't like the Dynasty Dragon Wave, the incident of March of last year. Because then it was like they just had to go to bed because it was too late. And it's like, why would you sign up knowing that you had to play this late to win the tournament anyways? Like Dragon Dynasty Wave were never going to win low ink unless they just, you know, like played in their bed when mom and dad weren't around, I guess, like on handheld. But VC, yeah, their players' internet just exploded. Like they had absolutely no control over that. It sucks that it happened here, because since it happened here, that means there's no losers finals. Like they just dropped out from the whole tournament from right here. So we didn't get to stream this one. And we had to go down here and make this all of a sudden a best of 5 in the middle of the set. They get done with game 1. We're telling them, hey, we're streaming your games from everything from here on out. And also it's best of 5, not best of 1. Like, it's hard to do that, just throw that in there. But this was losers finals. We had to make that adjustment. But VC, man, I really wish we could have seen them. Because they were playing really strong. Again, they were 4-2. They didn't have a good Saturday either. But they beat Sanguine Seas straight up. Red Pacific, this is another tough team that they beat in a game 5. They destroyed Dive. I almost said dominated, but that would have been weird. They destroyed Dive. That's less weird. And I don't know how this match would have played out. Absolutely no. I mean, it's easy to sit here and say, oh, Crescent Knight would have won, but we don't know. We have absolutely no idea how this would have played out. Will we see them again next month? I don't know, but still, they're going to be higher rated next month. But, man, this is why I talked about how difficult it is, especially when you only got 4 people in your roster. They desperately need to get 5 people in their roster just as an emergency, just in case next time. But, hey, they did strong back when they were actually playing. For grand finals, this match in particular, Myopsidus and Crescent Knight, and again, this is a rematch over here. They played 10 times. Crescent Knight won 6, Myopsidus won 4. The one thing I'll say about this grand finals is that what Myopsidus was doing with their vacuum clearly had a huge effect on Crescent Knight. I talked about that Scorch Gorge Rainmaker game, how Myopsidus, how the hell were they able to hold on and get the win right there. And I went back and watched it. I'm not going to show it on stream. You guys can go back and watch it as well. The Crescent Knight players, they were in position to get the lead, but they all just start backing away. They all just start running away and just leaving the Rainmaker by themselves. I'm like, what are they doing? It's because they got a Myopsidus actually had their vacuum player, didn't get splatted, jumped back, and they used the vacuum right over to where the Rainmaker was, and that allowed the room for Nom Nom to come in and just completely shut down the Rainmaker. That vacuum scared the snot out of Crescent Knight for whatever reason. It wasn't just that game. There were so many times where Crescent Knight popped a Booyah Bomb, and then they saw a vacuum, and they just chucked their Booyah Bomb somewhere completely useless because the vacuum was just there. Like, the Myopsidus' vacuum is the quirky thing in low end, because you don't see vacuum used a lot ever outside, especially unless it's just like a vanilla charger. But as soon as they get another charger kit, you might see that one disappear. But the vacuum from Myopsidus, I do want to point that out. It did have a huge effect against Crescent Knight, and they didn't really seem to have an answer for it when it was active on the field. Other than that, though, Crescent Knight was able to win that Game 5 Clan Blitz at Brinewater. They counterpicked it. It worked out into their favor. It looked like Myopsis was going to find a way to win, but again, it's kind of like Mako Mart. They just feed in a little too much when you're on the offensive side. You got to keep some players left alive for defensively. They fed a little bit too much to get that win, and ultimately just cost them on the defensive side for Crescent Knight to come back and win that one. But, and I've already talked about Crescent Knight and Myopsidus enough in the preview. This is a great result for Myopsidus. I'm happy for them making this deep of a run and putting up a great fight. It's just Crescent Knight just had a little too much going against them. It really, that Tower Control Art Academy game was such a curb stomp that that won the tournament for Crescent Knight. When they beat Myopsidus on their own counter pick, that was the end of the tournament right there. We just didn't know it. We got Game 4 and Game 5 to be awesome and cool, but that Game 3 really sealed the tournament for Crescent Knight when they just flat out destroyed Myopsidus there. Myopsidus Vac was how we lost our first 2 games in Day 1. They got on overtime push from Vac both times. I mean, it's a combination of Myopsidus knowing how to use the vacuum really well and other teams not really knowing how to deal with it. Like, you saw Crescent Knight just run away from it at times and just throw their Booyah Bomb straight down at the ground at nothing at times because they just didn't really know how to deal with it because they probably just haven't seen it that much. So, yeah, that's something, reflecting back on that grand finals, that's something I just wanted to point out. Oh, we got a Popcast episode on Friday, previewing Stormbreak. We'll recap Stormbreak on Monday, and then the next episode after that is going to be probably later the week afterwards, so I can get through Christmas and all that stuff. We will do the year-in review Popcast episode on 154, so that's coming up. Look for that tweet at some point. Think about your teams of the years, captain of the year, TOs of the year, match of the year, all that good stuff. You guys love the year-end episode. We are going to do that back, so keep an eye on that for 154. Until then, if you'd like to be a part of the podcast in any way, feel free to reach out on my socials below: Twitter _Popgun, Discord Popgun, hashtag 5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. Yes, air sign. Proving Grounds is going to be at 8 o'clock on Friday. the person I'm going to be talking to with Storm Break is EU. So we're going to do a 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Friday episode of the Popcast. Hey, Barry's streaming. We like to read Barry. Make sure you guys stay safe. Get vaccinated. Wear a mask if applicable. And make sure you sign up for Storm Break. If not, watch it. And enjoy the rest of your evening.